The public housing lockdown. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Still going through with my morning stein of coffee. I thought we'd have a look at a few articles discussing, well, the hard lockdown that's occurred in Victoria. You know, Victorians now get to experience the natural progression and evolution of many of the socialist policies put forward by their politicians. Complete loss of freedom, house arrest, and being locked down in your free government housing. Fantastic! Fantastic! I mean, just look at these beautiful monstrosities of hideous, reminds me of Soviet brutalist construction right here. I mean, just stack those plebs one atop the other, and they'll be happy and keep voting for you. This is why, why I'd advocate for more, less taxation, more individual liberty, so you're not living in buildings where the state can quite easily come and lock you all down. It's almost like we're entering a Judge Dredd type of world. So, Melbourne public housing tenants in hard lockdown are concerned about getting the pandemic. Abdi Ibrahim is fearful of how his family of 7 will cope with being locked down in their small 2-bedroom apartment for at least 5 days. The Melbourne man and father of 5 is one of about 3,000 public housing tenants now confined to their home after a hard lockdown was introduced across 9 public housing buildings in North Melbourne and Flemington on Sydney to stop the spread of the pandemic. With 14 pandemic cases already detected among public housing tenants in his Flemington community and more expected, Mr. Ibrahim and his wife are fearful for their family's health. I mean, this is reminiscent of the images that were first coming out of China, where they were welding doors shut to buildings. Everyone remember that? Where they were welding them shut. Keep people contained. It's one thing. Health is very important, he said, who has 5 children under the age of 5. Bloody hell. 5 under the age of 5. He's doing a lot better than me. We've got 5, but, we've got a spread from 7 to a couple of months, not 5 under the 5. Come on, Rachel, we got to lift our game. Bloody hell. The lockdown, which was announced without warning on Saturday afternoon and will last for 5 days, has left many in the community frustrated and feeling like they've been discriminated against. I wonder why that is. What, literally getting housing given to you. And here's the thing, you're in the government's housing. It's not yours. It's the state. The state controls it. What Daniel Andrews is doing is not fair. The way we feel is like we're second-class citizens, he said. There's no sense of humanity. This is the problem. This is when the state provides you with housing, they can come and intervene. This is a police state. You're starting to experiencing it. I'm hoping a whole lot of people here will wake up and might pivot them a little bit more. This might shift the Overton window over. Over. What do you think? You think that could happen? You think it'll happen to their kids? They'll go, to hell with this. This is BS. This is classism, discrimination, martial law. Well, I mean, entire suburbs are being shut down. I think the drastic thing is the police are actually patrolling every bloody floor in some of these buildings. It's crazy. There's been no communication with residents before the lockdown, with Mr. Ibrahim learning about the fate from the TV news on Saturday night. That would be the worst thing, frankly. That you learn about it from the news. The cops rock up, yell out, "I'm the law," and shut you down. When he spoke to Domain on Sunday, he had not yet been told how he would be able to get food, water, and other necessities for his family, including baby formula for his 7-month-old twins. Oh, that's why they got 5 under 5. He pumped out some twins. That's always the risk. That's always the risk. Well, see, this is why. This is why you need to stock up. You need to have a month's worth of food at home. But then again, it could be the end of your month. What if it was just at the end of your month shopping and you run out? Tenants are questioning why those infected with the illness were not being removed from public housing buildings and put into quarantine to stop the spread, said community leader Farah Wassam, chair of the Somali Community Incorporated. They were also concerned about the lack of preparation they were able to make because there was no warning of the lockdown. Other communities were previously given more time to prepare. Vulnerable tenants, many of whom live in overcrowded apartments and have nowhere to socially isolate, must stay home, with about 500 police deployed to the buildings to keep them from leaving. 500 police. The restrictions on the tenants are tighter than the stay-at-home orders given in place at 12 Melbourne postcodes, where people can only leave to go to work or study, provide care, buy groceries or exercise, because they're worried. They're worried about the tenants in these buildings that are going to go out and just ignore it or infect everyone, or they're spreading the illness. This is going to cause some problems in Melbourne, you know. As of Sunday, 27 tenants in the public housing towers had been diagnosed with the pandemic, with 13 cases in North Melbourne and 14 cases across public housing in Flemington. More cases are expected to be found as more testing is conducted in the buildings, health experts say. I bet you there are going to be people living in these things that are going to have a never-again moment for this. It's going to shift them hard. It's going to politically shift them really quick. And I bet you some of them will do whatever the hell they can to get out of living in public housing. You would hope. If anything's going to wake people up, it's being forcefully locked down by 500 police in your bloody home. It's yeah. Go on. We'll have to see. LDP should get out there and set up they're pretty active in Victoria. They should set up a little booth out the front. The position which vulnerable tenants have been left in highlights the urgent need for the state government to build more social housing accounting. Oh, for bullshit. No, it doesn't. Council of Homeless Persons. No, it doesn't count for more social housing. It means reducing the burden on people so they're not stuck in these bloody things. You don't want to have generations stuck in housing. Okay, you've brought people over. A lot of them are from overseas. You want to get them independent, personal resilience, so they're not living here, so their children aren't living in these things. You want them to be memories of this in this community, going, no, we can't trust the government. They're all a bunch of bastards. What do you reckon? Is more social housing the issue, so we've got more buildings to lock down? In a highly contagious pandemic, having a home that is safe and warm, which enables safe isolation, is critical to avoiding the illness. All of this is just being pushed towards a more leftist ideology. Now we need more government housing. Oh, now we need more handouts. Maybe I need to put my tinfoil hat on. In the short term, the government needs to provide support for people living in hard lockdown, with safe alternative accommodation for anyone living in crowded housing who has the pandemic and needs to isolate, she said. At a press conference on Sunday, Premier Daniel Andrews made no promises to separate those with the illness from other public housing tenants, instead saying that extra support would be given. He said tenants would have rent waived for 2 weeks and would have access to food and extra health and medical health services. Additional support will also be available for those with drug or alcohol issues. So you got alcoholic drug addicts in public. Bloody hell. I mean, here's the wake-up call. Get out of living in these bloody things. Do what you can. Get another job. Get a third job. Save. Get out of it. It's not worth it. We cannot have this illness spread. We have to do everything we can to contain the illness. And that is why staying in your unit, staying in your flat is absolutely essential. Those who are working will be offered a $1,500 hardship payment to help cover the bills, while those not working will be given $750. So they're just buying people out. While the payments may ease some pressure, Mr. Ibrahim is worried he will lose his casual job in warehousing and be left unable to provide for his family in the long term. The main concern is that I used to work 5 days a week. What am I supposed to do now? I've got bills to pay. Ms. Smed said people like Mr. Ibrahim were often left in vulnerable situations. This pandemic has brought home some hard truths. Our housing is critical to our health. Providing decent homes for people on low income means building a lot more social housing, she said. No, it doesn't. It means getting the burden off their back so they don't always stay on low income, reducing the government's influence in our lives. That's not even mentioned in any of this. Are we so minded, so placated to expect the state to take care of us? Is that what Australians are like now? It feels like it. It really does. Miss Smith said more than 80,000 people were on the social housing waiting list in Victoria. To cater for the shortfall, at least 6,000 new housing properties need to be built each year for the next 10 years. Victorian Minister for Housing, Richard Wynne, who lives nearby one of the public housing buildings in North Melbourne, said it was a difficult time, but felt the decision for a hard lockdown was the right one. At the end of the day, it's about saving lives, he said. What do you think, everyone? And we can have a look here at another article which is just showing the people in lockdown and the activity packs that they're getting. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. I mean, this is literally Victoria turning into a police state to contain this illness. As always, thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us via our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve or Kucoin. You can buy our merch from HeiseSays, support us using Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or via PayPal. Thanks everyone. I'll see you next time.